If anyone can hear me, I'm just trying to load the Q&A. Hey everybody, it's September, it's William. It's time for our September Q&A. I apologize, there might be a little bit of a delay. I'm just trying to get everything set up. If you guys hear a lot of background noise, I apologize. My office actually shares a wall with a person that is on the other side that has a super, super loud TV. So you might hear a little bit of background noise. If you do, I apologize. I've got pretty much all I can do to cut the noise down. Unfortunately, it does come through. So welcome everybody to our September Q&A. It is already autumn here in America, as you know, and we're going to go into winter pretty soon. I hope all of you guys are doing good wherever you are in the world. And thanks for joining us. We had a lot of great questions that people have written in, and I will try to answer as many as I can. And if you have any questions you'd like for me to answer, you can write them in the chat, and I will answer them as soon as possible. If I miss a question, don't be afraid to write it again, and I'll take a look. So it's good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. Anne says hello, and she's, of course, watching from her computer. Hi to everybody who's just joined the chat. Hi from Canada. If you caught our latest chat we had with a scammer, he said he was peacekeeping in Canada yesterday, so hope you're doing well in Canada. So, quick question. Someone asked, what's the funniest or dumbest scammer story? We've had quite a few. One of the dumbest ones I think Ann and myself ever have gotten was a scammer that said he was in Nigeria. He was on a oil rig or some kind of oil drilling machine, and all of his workers died, and he needed money to pay the families. And we talked to this guy on Skype, and he had said that the police and all these people were coming, and he needed the money right away, and we kept kind of delaying him and going on, and then eventually he said that the president of Nigeria was spanking him and beating him because he didn't have the money to pay the workers' families. So I think that was the dumbest scammer we've ever encountered. It was the funniest, certainly. We've had a lot of dumb ones in our time. You know, scammers still, they tell all kinds of stories. It's always something different, something weird, and you know, with every scammer, you get a different story. You know, you never know if you're dealing with a scammer who's intelligent and who can, you know, speak English well and tell really good stories. And then sometimes you get a scammer that's like a young kid or someone that's uneducated, and they tell the most ridiculous stories. As you know, we've had scammers that, you know, say they're a widow and their wife died 10 years ago, but they have a 5-year-old child. You know, it's ones like that that are really just absolutely ridiculous. So, but yeah, we get all kinds of different scammers, and I'm sure you guys encounter them as well. So that's kind of the funniest or dumbest story that we've come across so far. But you know, you never know, we might find more. So thanks everyone for joining us. We had a lot of great questions asked. I'm going to get into the questions. Hello, dear. Don't you love when they say that? Hello, dear. So the first question we got asked today was, why can't I find the man in the photo? So this question comes to us a lot. And one of the, you know, people always say, you know, I think I'm talking to a scammer, but I'm not sure. I Googled his photo and I found nothing. So, you know, why can't I find the photo if it's not really him? And so there's a few reasons for that. And we've covered this a few times in different platforms. Hello, my queen. That's another one. So scammers will steal photos from everybody. So, you know, sometimes scammers will steal a photo of like a famous general, and of course, when you Google that photo and image search it, it's going to come up, and you're going to say, oh, that's General Carterham, or that's, you know, General Odiono. You're going to know who they are. But sometimes scammers will steal photos of people that are not known. They may steal photos of some guy in Kansas named Bob Smith. We don't know who he is. So the photos don't come up in search. But sometimes what happens is a scammer will steal a photo of a soldier, and that soldier has an Instagram with thousands of followers. But he steals the photo, and then what he'll do, a scammer will put like a little sticker. It'll put like an emoji, a smiling face emoji, or he'll steal a photo and it'll say something like, you know, working out, or you know, hustling today, or happy new, whatever. It says something. They'll put an emoji sticker on it. So when you put that actual photo through image search, even though it's a known photo, even though it's a popular photo, nothing comes up because that sticker can sometimes, or that emoji on a photo can sometimes throw off a photo search site. And when the photo search site will scan the image, it'll come up with that yellow emoji and it'll throw off the whole thing. So you won't be able to find who the man in the photo is. Also, a lot of times, If it's a popular stolen photo and you go to look for it, you might not find who the man is. You might find 30 different fake profiles. And we've had a lot of victims who have said, well, I found the real man in the photo. His name isn't Jim Jones at all. His name is Bob Tom, and he lives in, Miami. And so what happens is victims go on this endless search to find the man in the photo, and they end up finding another scammer who will be more than happy to pretend to be the real man in the photo. So, the best thing you can do, and we say this hundreds of times, I say this at least a dozen times a day. If you're talking to a scammer, you know the profile's fake, block the person and walk away. Don't try to find the man in the photo. Don't try to tell him his photo's stolen, because most times these people know. There's nothing they can do about it. You're absolutely right, Deborah. They do know their photos are stolen. And so, you go on the search to find the man in the photo. And let's say you really do find the man in the photo. You don't find a scammer. And you tell the guy, and the guy's like, yeah, whatever. I knew that. I'm married. Leave me alone. And so a lot of people go on this quest to find the man in the photo, hoping that in their mind that they can have this fantasy where they find the real man and he thanks them and then they fall in love. And that doesn't happen. It's never happened to any victims we've known. What has happened is a victim will look for the man in the photo, they'll find another scammer, they'll get scammed again, or they find the real man in the photo and he's married with 10 kids and he tells you to go to hell because he's already had 20 other women this week tell him that, oh, your photo's stolen, but I'm in love with you. So that's kind of what you should do, is just block the person and don't go on a quest to find the man in the photo. It's a waste of your time, and it's an invasion of that person's privacy. That person can do nothing about their photo being stolen. They can't stop the scammers from using them, and you telling them about the photo being stolen certainly is not going to make things better for them. They're probably tired of hearing it from victims. So block and move on. That's the best advice. And if you can't find the man in the photo, let's say you Google the photo of the person you're talking to online, you can't find him. What you have to do to determine whether they're real or they're fake is listen to what they're telling you. Scammers always have the same stories. Are they a widow with a tiny child? I'm 58 with a 3-year-old boy, and I'm a widow. My wife died of a car crash, cancer, plane crash. She ran off with my best friend. I'm here deployed, blah, blah, blah. It all comes down to what they tell you, not what the photo tells you. So, you could be talking to somebody online, you Googled their photo, you get no results, but he's asking you for, $500 in Steam cards. You're talking to a scammer. Listen to what the person's asking for you, asking of you, what they want from you, not whether their photo comes up. Their photo is irrelevant at most times. It's what they're telling you, what they want from you, what they're asking of you. So keep that in mind. Hi to everyone who's joining the chat. Appreciate you guys coming out. We're going to answer some questions that people have wrote in, and if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them, and I will try to answer them as quickly as I can. So one question came in last week that he wanted us to include on our Q&A, and this gentleman wrote in, he said, my wife cheated on me for 27 months with a scammer and dated him for another 11 months after she left me for him. How did she hide it from me so long? Does this happen often? Why would a scammer go on and go after a married woman? So that's a good question. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to hear that your wife did that. That really sucks. So, as far as how to hide it, what happens is, and you've seen it with our chats, a scammer will talk to somebody and they often ask you, do you live alone? And the reason they ask you that is because they want to know that, they don't have anybody else that's going to get into their scam and try to veer you off course from sending money or gift cards, or try to convince you that the relationship is not real or the person's fake or is a scam. So what happens is, okay, let's say you're talking to somebody online, they ask if you live alone, you say no, I'm married, but let's say they're unhappily married. An unhappily married person is the perfect target for a scammer. And the reason is because that scammer will sit there and tell that person everything that their spouse is not telling them. If you're talking, let's give an example. Okay, you're married, and your husband doesn't buy you flowers. Your husband doesn't tell you you're beautiful. Your husband works a lot, and you're busy in life and all these other things. If a scammer knows that, a scammer will come with a fake profile and tell you every day how beautiful you are. A scammer will send you virtual flowers or even real flowers to your work. He'll do all the things that your husband or spouse did not do for you to emotionally manipulate you to believe that they are really your true soulmate, and that your husband or whatever is no good. They keep it a secret because they tell the victims often, don't tell your husband, don't tell your kids, don't tell your family. Let's keep our relationship a secret, and then, we'll get together. We can be together in time. So that's what they do. They tell victims, don't tell your brother, don't tell your mom, don't tell your husband. It's a secret. Shh. And they do it, and they emotionally manipulate, and they make people keep it a secret. Now, when I've talked to scammers as Betty, they often say, "Don't tell your son. Don't tell your son about it." And that's how they work. They want it to be a secret so that you don't tell your family or friends, "Hey, I'm talking to this guy online. I met him. He's really nice, but he needs an iTunes card, and I got to go to the store." Because someone else may know about scams and say, "Hey, that's not legit. You need to get rid of this person." Um, Anna and myself have had a lot of people who are married who have had affairs online with fake profiles, with scammers. It happens every day. We see both male and female victims of romance scams who come to us and say, I'm married, but my husband's not very good to me, so I cheated online with this guy, and this is what happened. He was a scammer. He's blackmailing me, or now he's doing this or that. If a scammer knows you're married, they will put that in the back of their head, and they will use that against you. So, um, it does happen often, and as I said, scammers will go after a married woman. It's the same as a scammer going after somebody that's elderly and lives alone and has no family. It's a prime target. So yes, it does happen often. It's unfortunate, but it's for scammers. It's like finding a golden egg when they find an unhappily married woman or they find an elderly person that lives alone. They hone in on that and they manipulate a person. So it does happen often. I'm sorry it happened with your marriage, but at least you found out. And unfortunately, she probably was likely scammed for quite a bit of money, or even blackmailed. Who knows? Debbie, do you think scam baiting helps to improve the scammer's English skills? No, because they don't read half the time what the hell you say. Um, I've been scam baiting and been scam baiting for almost 7 years, and the stories haven't changed. Their English hasn't changed. They're still writing the same garbage they've written from, talking to scammers. It's always the same story. It's always, I'm a widow. I have a tiny child. My child's at boarding school. I'm on an oil rig. I'm deployed. It doesn't improve their English. I honestly, they don't really pay attention. I mean, sure, if you have 100 scammers in a room, maybe one or two might pay attention to how they're writing and what you're saying and how that works, but it's very rare. The majority of them don't improve their English skills. They don't use talking to victims as an opportunity to educate themselves. They use it as an opportunity to get money. So you can talk to a scammer and you can tell them that, a ridiculous story, and they'll just say, "That's nice, dear." I talked to a scammer last night and I told him that I was going to go get his Steam card for him, but I would likely be killed in the parking lot of the convenience store. And he said, "Okay, dear, thank you, dear. That's nice, dear. Give me the card number, dear." They don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to what you write. You can pretty much tell a scammer any ridiculous thing. They're not reading what you say. So I don't think it improves their skills. I think they just, it's there's good scammers and there's bad scammers. There's scammers that are very well educated, that type English perfectly, that are very, cultured in Western civilization. They know about all the latest music. They know about all the latest news. And then you have scammers that can't even make a sentence together. So, like with anything, there's good criminals and bad criminals. There's good bank robbers, and then there's stupid ones that follow as they're running into the bank. So, it really depends. But I don't think scam baiting, um, you know, affects the scammer. It's a way for us, at least, to show people what they say and how they operate, so that you know what to look out for. That's the reason why we do it. Gene, how do scammers block you finding their fake pictures? They don't block you from finding them. They just a lot of times they will, like I said, they use photos that they'll crop a photo so that maybe it's harder to search. They'll put a little emoji on it. I mean, that's how they do it. A smart scammer does it that way. But they don't really block you from finding the photos. Sometimes the photos just don't come up in search. Like if a scammer steals a photo from some guy in Kansas named Bob Smith who, works at Walmart, and he happens to have a social media profile with 100 pictures, and they steal all of them, they're not going to come up in search because nobody knows who he is. But if a scammer steals a photo of like Keanu Reeves, then of course we're going to know who he is because he's famous. So that's just just what they do. It's just what they do. So, next question we have is, I chatted to a man who I thought was real. He turned out to be fake. I never sent him any X-rated pictures or nude photos of myself, but he photoshopped my head onto a naked body, and he has made threats to send it to my family and coworkers. What should I do? He wants money. Have you ever had this happen to you or any victim? If so, what did they do? So scammers do this. Let's say you're chatting to somebody online. I actually had this happen to my Betty character, and it was quite hilarious. You're chatting to somebody online. You kind of got romantic with them, but you didn't send them any nude photos. You just sent them pictures of yourself, like normal photos. And let's say the scammer asked you for money. You said no. They asked you for a gift card. You said no. So then they got angry with you, and what they do, and some scammers are really good at Photoshop. They put your head on a naked body. They'll find a naked body from like a porn site or wherever, and then they'll blackmail you. And so people can handle this one of two ways. And when this happened to my Betty character, I actually handled it in the way you should. I told him, oh, you could find a better body to Photoshop. Why don't you put my head on a supermodel's body? Why did you put it on an ugly fat body? Or why did you put it on a wrinkled body or whatever? So the best way to handle it is just to block the scammer. If someone says, I'm going to send this to your family and your friends, and it's a tactic to scare you. And really, at the end of the day, no matter how much money you sent to a scammer to stop doing that, um, they're going to still do it if they want to do it. If a scammer asks you for $1,000 so he doesn't post your naked photo, once he gets that $1,000, he's going to ask for another thousand and another thousand and another. So the best thing you can do is block him. If you're worried about your friends and family finding out, take his profile link, post it on your timeline, and say, "Hey, this guy is harassing me. He tried to Photoshop a naked body, my body on a naked person, and he's harassing me and wants me to send him money. I want you all to block him." And that's what you do. You have the power to stop this. So that's the best thing you can do, and just block them. Don't reply to them. Don't tell them off. Don't go, "I'm scared." Don't even give them the benefit of a response. Just block them. Warn your family and friends and tell your family and friends to block him, or your family and friends may turn around and start harassing him. Either way, you have the power to block, but above all, don't send money. So, Carla, do scammers use VoIP numbers to get in contact with you? Absolutely. That's pretty much all they use. Google Voice, text now, call 8. The majority of them use free voicemail numbers. What they do is, if you guys don't know, a lot of you should know what a voicemail number is, a VoIP. They will go ahead and get an email address. They go to like textnow.com. They sign up. They pick an area code in the United States where they want to be from. So let's say a scammer created a fake profile and says he's from Miami, Florida. They will go to TextNow, sign up for a free phone number. They type in Miami, Florida's area code, and boom, they have a phone number from Miami. Most scammers do use free voicemails. It's very, very rare that a scammer uses his real phone number. And when he does, usually he'll say, "Oh, it's my agent in Nigeria, so here's his phone number." But most scammers don't. Most scammers use voicemail numbers, absolutely. Janice, where did you find Betty's pick to bait scammers? So it's an interesting question. I actually got asked this on YouTube the other day. Um, our Betty character is a friend of mine, her aunt. Let us use her photos. She's not on the internet at all, and she has a lot of wacky photos. She's kind of she's an older lady. She's like in her late 60s, and she just said, "Yeah, sure, use them. I don't care. I'm not on the internet." So we use her photos, and we have permission to use them, and she gets a kick out of it. So um, that's where we got her photos from. I don't use people's photos that are stolen or anything like that. I would never do that to a person. So that's what I do, and we got permission to use them. So that's where they're from, and so it's a friend of mine, her aunt's photos, and we've used them since 2014. So. Um, a lot of her photos are pretty few years old. So, but yeah. So next question we have. We've had some good questions today. I'll try to answer as many as I can. The man I'm talking to online does not fall within the typical scammer stories. He has never been married. He has no children. His photos do not show up in search. We do talk on WhatsApp, but I have a lot of friends on there too that are not scammers. So not only scammers just use WhatsApp. We've been talking for 10 months, and last night he asked me for some money because he has an emergency surgery, and the military requires payment prior to surgery. I am torn on what to do as he doesn't fit the scammer profile of a widow, one child, etc. What advice do you have from me? Well, a couple things. I'm talking to a scammer. Um, let's address a few things. WhatsApp. So people do use WhatsApp. I mean, it's not. People think that we say that WhatsApp is for only scammers. It's not true. People use WhatsApp for their work. They use it for group chats with family and friends. It's great to use. For talking to people overseas. For many years, I used Viber to call friends and family that lived overseas because it's free. So us get that out of the way. Not only scammers use WhatsApp. A lot of people use WhatsApp. I actually have WhatsApp on my phone because it came with my phone. It was pre-installed app. I've never used a lot of different calling apps, but for calling overseas, it's great. So with that being said, let's get to a few things. So you're talking to a man, you've been talking to him for 10 months, and he hasn't asked you for anything. Well, a lot of scammers don't ask right away. They will wait and they will, get to know you, get to know your financial situation, gain your trust. Hi, Faye. And then they will get in there and ask for money. So people come to us all the time and they say, hey, I talked to this guy for a year before he asked me for money. If he was a scammer, why would he do that? To which we say, a lot of scammers have victims on the hook, different victims at one time. So you might have been put on the back burner and then they'll come back and ask you for money later. To clear something up with that, a lot of scammers don't always follow the widow with one child. A lot of them now say they're single and they just couldn't find love. A lot of them say they don't have kids. They do change their stories up, sometimes. It depends. But, they, at the end of the day, it's what they're asking of you. This comes down to the same as when, you talk about, photos being used. So, here's the thing. You're talking to a man who's in the military who says he needs money for his surgery because the military won't pay for it. So that right off the bat is a scammer. Now we start with military again. Men and women who join the military don't pay for their medical. They have TRICARE. Let's say they need emergency surgery. They have TRICARE. It's TRICARE for life. I've worked with many people who have been in the military. It's military, insurance. You if you were in the military and you needed emergency surgery, you would go and have the surgery. You don't need to pay up front. It doesn't work that way. So you're talking to a scammer. A lot of people join the military because of all the great benefits it offers. So when you're being told that oh, he needs money for his surgery, you're talking to a scammer. You're likely talking to a scammer who has had other victims that they've talked to while they were talking to you, and now your time is up for money. So they're going to ask you for money, and that's how it works. My advice to you would be to block them. You're talking to a scammer, and I know 10 months is a long time to be in a relationship with a person, but it is a scammer. And he's going to ask you for money. He's going to ask you for all kinds of stuff. So your best thing to do would be to block. Next question we have, and I actually had this question come in today. Do you think there are more Forex trading scammers now than before? And if so, what should we look out for when we deal with online stocks, Bitcoin trading, and investing? So that's a great question. A lot of our victims right now are falling for Forex, Bitcoin trading, stock scams. And what happens is you'll see a profile and it'll have like a little Bitcoin logo. It'll have a man in a suit or a woman in a suit. It'll say Forex trader, Bitcoin, WhatsApp me, here's my Gmail. So I tell victims the same thing. Every single Forex fake profile we've come across has been on Facebook and Instagram, and they use WhatsApp, and they use Gmail and Google Hangouts. If you're looking to invest money online, whether it be Bitcoin mining, Forex trading, stock purchasing, stock market trading, go to a reputable website. Don't go to a website that someone on Facebook messaged and sent you. Do your own research, Google your own companies, look at E-Trade, look at real legit companies that do stocks and trading and all that sort of thing. Don't fall for Mr. Smith on Facebook who sent you a link to his Forex or his investment trading scheme. It's fake. And anyone that tells you that, if you invest money, you're going to make $1 million with a little investment, it's a scam. You don't get money for nothing. So this comes down to the old adage of, if you're talking to somebody online and they say, well, for $100, I can make you 10,000. It's a scam. Stocks don't work that way generally. Forex trading, Bitcoin, none of that stuff. You don't make thousands of dollars sitting at your computer with your finger in your nose giving money to Bob Smith, who you just met on Facebook, who has a nice suit and tie on his profile pic. That is a scammer. And a lot of scammers deal with that. What happens is they get your bank account information. They tell you, oh, I'm going to route you some money from your investment. And they end up just using your bank account as a money mule, as a vessel to filter stolen money, and then you end up getting charged with fraud. So don't fall for that kind of crap. If you want to invest money, you want to get into stocks and trading, go to reputable. Go to E-Trade. Go to one of the reputable companies. Google the company yourself. Don't believe a link that someone sends you. And Gene, Hangout, yeah. Hangouts on Google is popular for scammers. Gmail is like the scammer's hub. So if you're talking to somebody online, you just met them, and they say, "What's your Hangout?" It's most likely a scammer. Scammers want victims to go to Hangouts and WhatsApp almost instantaneously. So if someone is, pushing you to go to Hangouts and you just met them, it's probably a scam. A real person, if they just met you online, you tell them, "Hey, I'd rather talk on the site." A legit person will talk on the site with you. They won't force you to go to Hangouts, or WhatsApp right away. And that goes for a real person that wants to get to know you. They don't ask for your phone number right away. That's very awkward. If a person you just met on a dating site wants to know you, they'll get to know you. They'll talk to you. They'll stay on the site with you. They won't ask for your phone number, your email, your occupation, when you get paid, what's your Hangouts, what's your WhatsApp. Download this for me. The scammers do that, and they're very pushy. The reason they do that is because a lot of times their fake profiles get removed. And so they want to capture you on an app before they lose their fake profile, and that's the reason why they do it. Next question we have: why are so many scammers using Instagram now more than Facebook? It seems like I'm getting hit on IG more than any other site. What is happening that the scammers have shifted? They have. Years ago it used to be chat rooms where scammers hung out. Then it used to be MySpace, if you guys remember MySpace, if you're that old. And then Facebook was the new it place to be. Now Instagram is becoming more popular. So you have more people going to Instagram than you do Facebook. Keep in mind, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram are all owned by the same person, Mark Zuckerberg. And so I think Instagram is just more modern. It appeals to more of the younger generation. So you have scammers that are in their teens and 20s. They're more likely to be on Instagram operating than they would be on Facebook. So it's just become the new hotspot. It's the new place for scammers to look for victims. And that's just it. It's just a popular place. In a couple of years from now, Instagram might not be popular. It might be Telegram or some other app or other social media network. My scammer wanted me to stay on IG. Is that odd? A little bit. Sometimes they want you to just stay on Instagram. They may want you to stay on it for a couple of weeks or months, and then they eventually would want to move you to chatting on an app or chatting on WhatsApp or Hangouts. But some scammers just operate from Instagram. It depends on the scammer. A lot of scammers will pick one place where they scam from, and that's it. You have scammers that only scam on Tagged. You have scammers that only scam on POF or only on Instagram. It just depends on the scammer. And then you have some scammers that have 1,500 different profiles in all these different places, and they get all these victims, and then they want them all on Hangouts. So they get them from all these different websites, but they keep them all in Hangouts. So it depends. And they're all over game sites. They're all over Scrabble. They're all over Words with Friends. Words with Friends has turned into Words with Scammers because that's a lot of scammers hang out on Words with Friends, on Scrabble, on Yahtzee. And someone asked me, how does scammers do Words with Friends? Because they always seem to win the game. Well, there's a lot of cheat apps that they use to play. So they use a cheat app to make themselves kind of a little bit more knowledgeable of spelling in different words. So that's how they do it. There's a lot of free apps online that let you cheat at Scrabble, let you cheat at these different games. Next question we have: my mother is being scammed. She will not believe he's a scammer even after we've shown her proof. What can we do? She's sending her pension money to him every month and buys him Steam cards every time we go to the store. That can be frustrating. Hi, everybody that's just joining us. So we've had a few people, their mother, father is being scammed by a scammer online with a fake profile. You show them proof, and then they still go, no, 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 no. A lot of people get brainwashed by scammers. They're very emotionally manipulative. They will actually kind of gaslight you and make you think that you're the crazy one. You're not. They're not crazy. They're not fake. You're questioning things you shouldn't. You're being, a little overprotective, and your kids want your money. Your kids are trying to control your life. You're not a child. Don't let the kids control your life. And so they do that. They manipulate people, especially if they are lonely, if they're a widow or they're divorced and they're older and they're kind of in the house a lot and things like that, and they're lonely. That's what they do. When it comes down to your family, your mom, your grandma is losing her pension every month and losing hundreds of dollars for these frickin' Steam cards. Um, it might come down to you may have to go to get a power of attorney if you live in the United States and deem her mentally unwell to handle her finances. That's a tough one to do. It can be very insulting to the victim, but at some point you have to step in and say, hey, mom, you're losing $2,000 a month in your pension to a scammer. We're going to step in and take over your finances. Another way to do it too is if your mom is sending money via Western Union, MoneyGram, or Walmart to Walmart money transfer, you can call the 800 number for fraud, for Western Union, for MoneyGram. Each of them have a number, and you can tell them what's going on and tell them that your mother is sending money. This is her name. And they can look it up, and she's sending money every month. They can blacklist her for fraud, and they can. I think it will last up to a year, but they can blacklist her so she doesn't send money for a whole year. And it can make it a little bit more difficult, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's a step you could take to try and convince her, or try to stop her at least from sending all that money. Next question we have. Okay. Do you think scammers in a place like Nigeria have family in the United States that they scam with? I asked this because I was talking to a man online who has asked me to wire money to the military agent in Chicago, but I went to a Nigerian woman with the same last name as the profile I'm talking to's URL. It went to a Chase Bank in Chicago. So you're talking to a fake military man online, and his URL, which, as you know, say facebook.com/whatever, um, is the same last name as the person that he wants you to send money to in Chicago. So yes, it's possible. We've come across many scammers who have family in America that they use their bank accounts. They use their information to send money. Also, there's a lot of scammers that are in places like Nigeria, Ghana, India, wherever, and they actually um, open bank accounts online, and they deposit money online. They do online banking. I mean, I have a bank account from Bank of America that I opened up online. They can do it. So it could be somebody, a family member. We've seen family members that have helped filter money, that help scam. Absolutely. At the end of the day, don't give the money. And if it's a bank account here in America, or you have, the bank routing number and information, if it's Chase Bank, you can go to Chase Bank Fraud, fill out a form online. We do it all the time with American bank accounts that are being used for scams, and give them the information. They may or may not investigate it, but it doesn't hurt to get that information out there. So that's the best thing you can do. Jerry asks, what about Bitcoins? Bitcoin scams are huge. Scammers are now using Bitcoin. They're having you send money to them via Bitcoin because it's almost nearly impossible to trace. And so they're kind of shying away from the Western Union, and they're going more towards Bitcoins because it's impossible to trace. They can ping that money all over the world to different accounts. They can go from Bitcoin to PayPal to Cash App, and they can just go all over the place. So if someone asks you to send money via Bitcoin, or if someone tells you they can mine Bitcoins for you for a small investment, it's always going to be a scam. It doesn't work that way. You can't give somebody online $500 and expect them to bring you back 5,000. Doesn't work. It's a scam. And scammers will actually give you fake Bitcoin numbers, account numbers, and Bitcoin numbers, and say, here's your information, and they'll set up a fake Bitcoin website and say, here's your money, and it'll show you have $50,000 there, and you don't have anything. It's just fake. It's all made up. So Bitcoin's something I would shy away from unless you absolutely know what you're doing, and you're doing it from a reputable company that you have absolutely checked out yourself, and you didn't get their link from like some guy on Facebook or Instagram. Then fine. But it's risky, and especially dealing with people online. If someone promises you the world, for a small investment, they're scammers. It's always going to be a scammer. Next question we got a few more, and I'll answer some in the chat too as well. How do you feel about scammers who confess and then romance scam victims as themselves? Do you think scammers can change their ways? No. So we have a lot of people who say to us, I was talking to a man online, I fell in love with him, I found out he was fake, I confronted the person, and they confessed that they were a scammer. Now I talk to the man as himself. He is, 30 years old. He lives in Lagos. He's a nice guy. He told me he loves me, that my love changed him. He'll never scam again. It was the first time ever scamming. He's so sorry. He wants to marry me. Blah, 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 blah. What it is you have a scammer who tried to scam you with a fake, didn't work, so now they're still wanting the money. So they're like, you know what? I'm going to confess. This is really me. I'll never do it again. I'm very poor. I can't do this. I need help. Blah, blah, blah. It's still a scam. They're just scamming you as themselves. So what you need to do is, it's up to you who you want to be friends with. But keep in mind, a scammer is a scammer. Whether he's scamming you with a fake profile and a fake photo, or he's scamming you with his real photo and he confesses. He's still scamming you. He's probably scamming other women as well. And the reality is, he's going to keep scamming long after. We've had a lot of victim stories, and I have one that I've been working on for a couple months that actually fell for that. And she went to Nigeria to meet her scammer, and it ended up horribly. And he was still scamming, and she got stuck there, and she was scamming with him. And she was in a forced scamming situation. It's very bad. So what you need to do is, keep in mind that once a person is a scammer and they're confessing, they're probably scamming other people. I mean, what are you going to have in common with somebody who has lied about who they are and then confessed, and they're not even the person you were in love with, and they're just a completely different person? They're going to scam you for more money. They're just going to do it as themselves. So I would block them. I don't think. I mean, yeah, people can change. Sure, everybody changes. People make mistakes in their life, but a scammer who confesses and then keeps wanting to be with you, there's a hidden agenda behind that, and you should always block a person who confesses, no matter what they tell you. What about call credit on their phone? As far as putting credit on their phone, or what are you referring to? Because I mean, a lot of scammers use fake profiles and say, I need money on my phone. Could you send me a Steam card? Can you send me an iTunes card? Um, I mean, anyone asking for these cards is always going to be a scammer. Real people don't ask for these things, and especially with fake military profiles, we come across so many fake military profiles where they tell victims, um, I'm in the war zone, but if you send me an iTunes card, we can keep talking. It doesn't work that way, and so anyone asking for those cards are scammers, straight out. And a lot of scammers use somebody's picture in their account. They do. They steal the photos from anywhere and everywhere. That's why it's important to secure your account and make sure that a lot of your photos are not public. So just keep that in mind to secure your account. Next question we have. I've done everything right in terms of securing my profile. I don't answer my phone to unknown numbers, and I mark email as spam. What else can I do to prevent these cockroaches from infesting my life? I've talked to one fake profile 2 years ago, and since then my life has been hell with these pests sending me messages, calls, spam, and emails. So this happens a lot, and what is going on is, okay, let's say you talked to a scammer in 2018, and you blocked them. You say, hey, I know you're fake, and I blocked you. But if they had your email, they had your phone number, they had your profile link, they had your name, they know where what city you live in. Scammers will take your information and then they will give it to other scammers. They will post it in groups run by scammers and say, try this one. She likes military men and, long walks on the beach. And so all of a sudden you've got these military men messaging you. It can be frustrating, especially if a scammer gets your phone number, because once he gets your phone number, he's going to call you. His friends are going to call you. You're going to get phone calls from, all kinds of places, all weird phone area codes, country codes, all that stuff. The best thing you can do is keep blocking. I know it's frustrating. I know that. Hi, Linda. I know it's irritating because, you can only block so many people. You can only, block so many phone calls, and you're fed up. But at the end of the day, if you keep blocking the scammer and you don't talk to them, and that's what people make the mistake of, is they get a message from a scammer and they write back, "F you, I know you're a scammer," blah 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 blah. they love getting responses, whether it's negative or positive. So the best thing you can do is just continue to block. If it gets to a point where you're getting tons of phone calls from weird phone numbers, you might have to change your phone number. Make sure your profile is locked down. You may have to change your email address if you're getting a lot of spam, a lot of junk mail messages. But that's the best thing you can do. That's the best steps you can take. Make sure your social media profiles are locked down. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of their photos are open to the public. When they post these photos, someone has like a Facebook page and they post photos of a party they went to or a barbecue, and there's 35 open photos, and 28 of them are of you. Scammers see that. They steal those photos. They message you. They get to know you. They do all kinds of things. So make sure your profile is secure. My own personal Facebook profile, you cannot see anything other than profile photo, my wallpaper, and maybe one public post. Everything else is locked down. My friends list is locked down. My about section, my phone number, all that information is locked down. Yours should be too, and that's the best way, because some scammers, they'll go to Facebook and they'll type in, you know, Maria Smith, and they'll go right down the line and look at all the Maria Smiths that come up in search, and they'll check you and see who you are, and 5 of them they find, they'll try talking to them if you have your information open. And we don't realize that scammers are stalkers before they're scammers. They will check your profile. They will see if your likes are open. So let's say you have a profile and you're on Facebook and you commented it on Good Morning America's news page about something, and they see, oh, Sally commented on this. I'm going to click her link. Oh, her profile is open. It shows that she likes dogs and she likes the Dallas Cowboys and she likes, George Strait music. So I'm going to make a profile and I'm going to say I like this stuff too and try to get something in common with you. So that's what they do. They stalk you. So make sure your profile is locked down. It's the best thing you can do. He wants $2,500 for his call credit on his phone. Please don't let me send it. Don't send it. Nobody needs $2,500 for call credit on a phone. If you're talking to somebody that says they need that, you're talking to a scammer. Nobody needs that much call credit. Nobody needs that on their phone at all. Um, that's a that's a scam. So whoever is telling you that, whatever reason they said they needed it, it's a scammer. You need to block that person right away. Don't engage with them. Don't send them money. Just block them. Just block them. Absolutely block them. It's a scam. Don't send it at all. Next question we have is, why do you think so many women think your page is a dating site? What are your thoughts on this and why is it happening? I love this question. So in the last 2 days, I've had a ton of women write on, and myself have had them write on albums saying, they'll write on a stolen photo and say, here's my number, sir, marry me. Please call me sir. Um, I don't know why this is happening. We actually reached out to a couple of, most of them are from Thailand that are writing this stuff on our photos of the stolen photos. We've reached out to some page friends that are very fluent in Thai, and they have written to these women and asked them, hey, this is not a dating site, but they still come on here. I don't know if our page link gets dropped in certain places. Every once in a while, we'll have, for 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row, a ton of ladies from Thailand, from the Philippines, and from Malaysia, from Vietnam, right on our page on the stolen photos and put their phone numbers, put their address, and beg for the men in the photos to talk to them. And they think it's a dating site. I'm not sure why it happens. It's irritating to me because anyone can see these posts and see these replies, and a scammer could see it and start writing to these people. So again, it's not a dating site. This is not a dating site. It's never been one. It never will be one. I think it's a language barrier issue. But then again, as I said, we've had page friends write to these ladies in their native language, and they still don't understand. They still think it's a dating site. So it's kind of confusing. Shirley, how do you lock down your information? In our notes section of this page, there's a thing that says how to lock down your profile. We have step-by-step instructions on how to lock down your profile on Facebook. Instagram, we don't really use that often. We have an Instagram page, but I don't really mess with Instagram. So the instructions on how to lock down your profile are in our notes, and it's specifically made for Facebook profiles. So if you need help, inbox us. We can help you as well. Linda, had one person on Facebook try to friend me, ignored. How I get a ton of them, is it the same person? They're sharing me. They're sharing you. 1 or 2 friend requests might be the same scammer making different fake profiles. The majority, they just shared your information somewhere. There's tons of scammer groups on Facebook. that specifically all they do, it's run by scammers, and all they do is they drop your information publicly in these groups. And some of these scammer groups, like Yahoo Boys group, there's like 30,000 Yahoo Boys in a group. And so they get your information and they try to talk to you. So your link probably was dropped somewhere, your information, and it happens quite often. And that's probably why. And they'll make hundreds of fake profiles. You know, it'll be 20 different scammers making 20 different profiles trying to have a go at you. Hi there. Hi. Thanks for anyone coming to the chat. Nikki, many Nigerian find lovers. Our app only get from my. I mean, look, there's good and bad. Like people are always yelling at me saying, um, all the Nigerians are bad, and that's not true. There's a lot of great Nigerian people, and I have friends from Nigeria. They're wonderful people. They're not scammers. They're not liars. They're very honest. They're very smart. A lot of Nigerians and a lot of Africans, people from different African countries, are extremely educated. What the bad part is with Nigeria, there's so many scammers in Nigeria doing scams that it has tarnished the reputation of the entire country, and it's made it so people have the mentality of like everyone's a scammer from there, and it's not true. I mean, there's a lot of good people, but what's unfortunate is, as I said, Nigerians are very educated people. They're very smart, but they're taking that education and they're using it for bad. They're using it to scam, and that's what's kind of sad about the whole situation. There's great people online in Nigeria that are honest, but unfortunately, that country's been so tarnished because of the scammers that it's hard for people to see past the scams and see that there are good people there as well. Do Facebook block them if we report fake profiles? No. If you report a fake profile, you have to actually block them yourself. You have to go to their profile, click the little dots, and click the block button. If you report a fake profile and you don't block them, it they can still see you. You can still see them. They don't know you reported them. And keep in mind that when you report profiles that are fake, 90% of the time, Facebook doesn't remove them. A lot of people come to us and they say, "Hi, Dina," say that, "Hey, I reported this fake Dr. Pinto profile, and they say it's real, so he must be real." No, it's done automatically. And there are some data centers where people work and they sit in a little cubicle all day and they review fake profiles. What's really interesting is Facebook last year, a year before, opened a data center in Lagos, Nigeria, where workers go through profiles and evaluate them. So that tells you a lot about Facebook. Um, but reporting a profile again doesn't always remove the profile, and it doesn't always remove the scammer. People come to us and they say, "I got his profile removed. The scammer's gone." No, the scammer lost the profile. He just turns around and makes 10 more. So you can't get rid of a scammer. You can't eradicate scammers. I mean, you can report their fake profiles, but whether they get removed or not, it doesn't remove the scammer. They just make 10 more. That's just how they are. So, hi Colleen, thanks for joining us. So I've got one more question. And then if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to grab them. And then tonight we're going to do a Q&A later this evening uh, on YouTube on our channel, Scamming Scammers. I'm going to try to call some scammers as Betty and try to get them to talk to us. The Q&A we do on YouTube is a little bit more informal. It's just a fun hangout thing if you guys want to join us later tonight. It's at YouTube at Scamming Scammers. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get a notification that lets you know that we're on and you can join us. And we'll be on there later tonight trying to call a few gentlemen from Tagged. So if you want to join the fun, you can. Hi Annie. Hi everyone that's joining us. Hi Joanne. Thanks for coming to our Q&A for September. We got one more question that somebody asked. Hi Patricia in our thing. Last question we had for our write-in is, does anything happen to the people in the States who let scammers use their bank accounts? Are they not criminals too? It's a good question. Um, Sometimes. So if you're an innocent money mule that you actually gave your bank account information to someone you thought was real online, and they used your account to accept money, mule money, you can get in trouble. We've had victims who have actually gone to prison who didn't know that they were being scammed. They didn't know that. they were involved in this money muling thing. They didn't know they were involved with a scammer. So they're very innocent. They're not really criminals. They're victims of the scammer. Um, but they can get in trouble just as much as a criminal could. But there are people that actually let scammers use their bank accounts. We know of a few people in the United States who actually do that, and they haven't gotten caught yet, but they will. Those people are definitely criminals. But the people that are innocent that really did not know they were dealing with a scammer, um, they're victims of a crime as well. And what's unfortunate is the bank doesn't see it as black and white. They see it as you let someone use your account, it was used in fraud, you're the one holding the bag. So, uh, yeah, people can get charged with fraud. People can get banned from having bank accounts. They can ruin their credit. They can have all kinds of stuff happen. So yeah, it does happen, and then some people don't get caught at all. So it really depends. But it's always a risk, and it's a risk that you shouldn't take, especially if you're innocent in the whole thing. So don't give your bank a routing number or passwords to anybody. Don't ever do it. What if I remove someone from a group I admin but forget to block them? Can they still see what's going on in the group? It depends. Is the group a private group or is it a public group? If it's a public group, then they can still see what's going on in the group because the group is actually public, like anyone can see it. Like I could go to the group and look at it as well. If it's a private group and they've been removed, then no, they cannot see it. Or if it's the type of group that you have to actually join in order to see anything, then no. Once you've kicked them out, they can't see anything. Um, you don't have to block them yourself because if you block them, all you're doing is blocking them from seeing you. You're not blocking them from the group. So yeah, once you ban them, they're pretty much gone unless you have another admin that adds them back in, which wouldn't be good. So but no, they shouldn't as long as your group is set to private or to join only. So Brenda, it's getting harder to report. They've giving people a hard time. Your Betty thing is awesome. Thanks, Brenda. It is getting harder to report. Facebook is making it harder and harder to report. They're making it harder and harder for anti-scam pages to even exist. Last month, I believe we had all of our admin, except for one, removed from our page, and we had their real profiles were shut down by Facebook for no reason. This happened to almost every anti-scam page across the board. Definitely was something that Facebook initiated, and it was done so to help the scammers. So we were able to get some of the profiles back, but not all of them. All the profiles that Facebook removed were legit, and they refused to even appeal it. So this happened to many anti-scam pages, so it goes to show you how corrupt Facebook really is. So they definitely are for the scammers. I mean, there's tons of groups run by scammers on Facebook that just trade stolen credit cards. And we've reported the groups, and Facebook says, no, it doesn't violate community standards. You can give people stolen credit cards out anytime you want. So, and then, sometimes they do ban scammer run groups. They've blocked the Yahoo Boys group before, but for one group that's blocked, 200 more pop up. So, it's a fight. It's a cat and mouse game with Facebook being the person who kind of tends to side with the scammers, unfortunately. But like Facebook with any online thing, it's gonna come and go. You know, MySpace was huge and then it went away, and Facebook's huge now. It's going to Instagram and other things, so it'll fade away. Question: I have a phone and an iPad. If I block someone on one, it doesn't always block on the other. Is it something I'm doing wrong? It's kind of weird because once you block somebody, if you're talking like on social media, once you block somebody, like for example, if I block somebody on my phone with my Facebook profile, and then I log into my Facebook profile on my computer, it should be blocked because you're blocking the actual person. You're not blocking their device. So I'm not sure um, why that's doing that. Other than, let's say if you block somebody on your phone and then you go on your iPad, maybe refresh your when you log into your iPad, refresh your page, and hopefully it should show that they're blocked. That would probably be the best thing I can tell you to do. You might need to just refresh everything. But once you block a person, they're blocked. Their URL is blocked from contacting you. So, and remember, if you unblock a person, you have to wait 48 hours to block them again. So don't unblock somebody unless you're absolutely sure you want to talk to them again. But it's getting worse. And remember that we're getting close to Christmas, and so as we get close to Christmas time, scammers are pushing harder and harder for those gift cards. They're pushing harder and harder for your bank information, your money, and with the pandemic and with everything that's going on right now, they're wanting your cash as quickly as they can get it. Christmas time, from mid-October until the day of Christmas, scammers are flooding people's inboxes with friend requests, with dating requests, with all that stuff. They use the holidays as an excuse. They say, "Oh, you're alone on the holidays? Me too. I'm a widow." Blah blah blah, and they try really really hard to get your money. Usually the week before Christmas, our inbox is just absolutely inundated with victims wanting help, with people needing help, with people sending money. So and we've had people tell us, from now until Christmas, we get 20 friend requests a day from scammers. What do I do? What can I do? And so you just have to be really careful and know that the holidays ramp up, and as the holidays ramp up, scammers just want that money. They want those gift cards. They push super hard. They push really hard for relationships, and keep in mind, you're talking to somebody online you just met. Um, and they want to marry you and get to know you and be with you right away, it's a huge red flag. So always, love and relationships take time. And so if you're talking to somebody online, like we've had chats with Betty, with scammers, and they say right away, "Oh, we're going to get married," and you've only talked to me for 3 minutes, that's a huge red flag. Normal people don't do that. So thank you, Anne. I'm calling Anne tomorrow. So we're doing, for our closes Q&A for September, we're doing a victim stories. So if you have been the victim of a scam and you would like to share your story, you can share it either via Skype. We're going to do Skype sessions with people where I record both of us together on the Skype, and you can tell your scam encounter with a scammer. Or if you'd like to not have your face put on our YouTube channel, you can vocally tell me. I've been calling victims and doing phone interviews as well. So if you'd like to share your story, and I'm talking to tomorrow, which is Sunday. I've had a few people ask, and then I've had a few people cancel because they're busy. So if you'd like to tell your story about being in an encounter with a scammer, whether you want to do it on Skype or whether you want to do it via phone, where I call you on the phone and record it, then that story is uploaded to YouTube. You can remain anonymous. You don't have to tell us your real name. You don't have to appear on camera. You can appear just voice only, and we can change your name, whatever you need. But if you'd like to share your story about an encounter you've had with a scammer, please feel free to inbox us, and you can go ahead and share your story, and then we'll upload it to our YouTube channel. I've had a lot of people write in victim stories. I'm a little bit behind on narrating the stories, but I will get to them. But yeah, if you'd like to share your story, inbox me, and then we'll work out when, and what to do. I will have a lot of availability. So a little updates on our Anne and myself before we end the Q&A. Anne's doing okay. She's going through some medical issues again, so we're kind of on that going through the medical stuff again. Unfortunately, it's a little bit different issue right now, but she could definitely use your thoughts and prayers and good positive vibes. And with myself, I was supposed to have started a new job 2 weeks ago, and there was a glitch. There was a bunch of drama, and so as of last Friday, I finished my job, and I'm unemployed again. So we've had kind of a rough year due to COVID, and I'm back looking for employment. So it's been kind of a rough year, pretty much for everybody. But that's just an update of what's going on with us. We're still doing the page, still making videos on our YouTube channel, and we'll continue to do so as much as we can and help you guys every day in the inbox here on Facebook. We did get a mailing address for our YouTube. You guys asked for a mailing address for us. We did open a Patreon. We're at Patreon/Scamming Scammers. And then we are going to start uploading some new types of videos and some victim videos as well. So that's what we've been up to. We appreciate all you guys very much. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them now. Otherwise, I will close this Q&A for September. I really appreciate you guys coming to the Q&A. I know this is kind of a shorter one than what we normally do, but we're going to be on tonight on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Scamming Scammers. We'll be calling the scammers as Betty, and having an informal Q&A where we can chat, you can ask questions. Last couple weeks ago when we did our Q&A on YouTube, we called a scammer, and you guys got very interactive with us, and we told the scammer different things in the chat and stuff like that. So if you'd like to join us later tonight, we'll be on YouTube. Um, Can we do something to get them back as a group? This, as far as getting scammers back, no. The best thing you can do is block a scammer. You know, there's different kinds of scammers. You know, there's some scammers that are really dumb, and they're young kids and they're stupid and they don't know anything. And there's scammers that are hackers. They're seasoned scammers. They know how to really mess up your world. So the best thing you can do with a scammer is just block them. The best way to avoid a scammer is to educate yourself about what to look out for and how to stay safe. If you do that, perfect. You won't become a victim of a scam. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone you know about romance scams. It's not talked about enough, and that's the reason why people are becoming victims. So, the best way to stop a scammer is just educate yourself. So, and be careful when meeting somebody online. Yes, you can meet people online. Yes, you can. You know, I've traveled and met people online. You know, I flew to Australia and met somebody online, right? Met Ann. Be very careful. Be careful, be cautious, and you know, don't fall victim to a scammer, and don't fall victim to somebody who might be a little dangerous as well. So, be safe out there. Appreciate all your thoughts and prayers. You guys stay healthy, stay safe. I'm going to close this Q&A for September. Join us tonight on YouTube under the channel Scamming Scammers. I don't have a time. I'm thinking around 3 hours from now, around 9 or 10 o'clock, because that's when the scammers come online. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll get a notification when I go live tonight. So hopefully see you guys there. Thank you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow about your victim encounter. And anyone who wants to tell their story, please feel free to inbox us, and we'll get to you. I'm on Pacific time, so when I say it's 6:30 here, so probably about 9:30 my time, so in about 3 hours, I'll probably be on YouTube. But thanks for everyone for subscribing to our YouTube channel and everything you guys do. We're always here for you. Feel free to inbox us with any questions, and we'll talk to you guys in October. We'll see you then. Take care. Stay healthy.